to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Oscar Bevis, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by The Last here at the Origin Gym in Essex. Shane Watson joins me. How are you, mate?
Oh, mate, been a long time, but excited, happy to be here, and got some good nights ahead of us, haven't we? So.
Yeah, here to speak to a couple of the S-Jam boys, John Hedges and Johnny Fisher, obviously both out on October the 29th from the Katie Taylor undercard. Yeah, good to see them two boys back out, and back out, of course, for you on the same card, which logistically is probably a bit nicer as well.
It's nicer, a lot more. It's double stressful because you have to get nervous for two lads rather than one. But no, it's good. It's going to be a good card. Nice fight at Wembley Arena. Nice to take the Wembley Hilton again. One of the better hotels. And they both have got nice little step ups for that bill. So, and it's both of their last 6 rounders actually. They're going to move up to 8 after this. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Should be a good night. Johnny Fisher bringing the whole of Essex, or more than just the whole of Essex actually, again. And John Edges has done a lot of tickets for this one as well actually. So yeah, it'll be a good night. And I can't wait for it really.
Are they kind of, I'm not going to say at the same stage, because obviously John had a much more established amateur career than Johnny, as we know, kind of had, well, under 10 amateur fights and whatnot. But are they kind of at the same stage in the sense that both undefeated, had their learning fights, and we're perhaps, even though they're both young, perhaps only a year, 18 months away from the title shots?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they are basically fighting the same level opponents. They're both fighting guys that give it a good go, that are coming to win, but they're not like British, European level guys, are they? So yeah, I would say that they probably are fighting the same level. The hard thing with Johnny is trying to establish what weight he is, because his body is moving and changing so much. It's hard to step him up because we don't know what championship weight he can make. He's definitely never going to make light heavyweight, and he's not really physically big enough to fight a big cruiserweight yet, but he will be. So
he told me that when he came in on the first day of camp, he was over 200 pounds, which he said would shock people, and it shocked me, I'll be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what he's doing outside of boxing, but yeah, no, his body's changing so much, so it's very difficult to predict even what weight to get him to fight. Like this one's going to be 183 pounds, I believe. But like next one, it might be like 187 and stuff like that. Like, so we've got to keep making catch weights for him until we establish what weight he is. But yeah, they're both moving at the same pace. Both putting on good wins. I mean, even John Hedges is getting the knockouts now as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what both can do on fight night at the end of October.
You're really excited for that night, obviously headed by Katie Taylor. I know you're going to want to talk about this. Can I pan down to the shirt, by the way? I love this.
I mean, I'm actually, after this, I'm going to watch Dubois spar Guido and Johnny Fisher. So I thought, oh, here we are. I thought this t-shirt would be appropriate to wear. No.
Well, I thought you was going to say you was planning to take it off before you go and see Daniel, but you're going to waltz into the gym wearing the Juggernaut t-shirt.
I am. I'm probably going to get another Joseph Parker situation where I get stuck on me and I get scared again, but because I'm a keyboard warrior. No, I'm joking. But actually, the reason why I actually have got this t-shirt on is because I've just come back from being away for a while, and I haven't got much. All my other clothes are like in the wash at the moment. So I had a look. The Juggernaut t-shirt was there, so I was like, yeah, let's get it on. And I'm sure they won't mind. Probably a fan of Juggernaut now. He's out there bashing. He made Dubai look good, because after what he did to Parker, he makes Dubai look even better, doesn't it? So
I love it. It says large, overpowering, destructive force or object, which is exactly what we saw on that night in Manchester. Quickly on Joseph Parker sticking it on you. Did your arse go? Because everyone seemed to think it did, and I think it made every single national newspaper website, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, right? I'm gonna get more shit for this because people are just gonna call me a liar. I didn't shit myself because, number one, I've known Parker for a long time. Number two, he's not going to hit me a couple of days before a big fight. And I don't think he would ever hit anyone. He's just too much of a nice guy. Number three, I love The Office, yeah. It's my favourite show. So I wanted to be David Brent, yeah, and make it awkward. I stared him in the eyes for about 40 seconds and made a little comment here and there. So that would suggest that I wasn't actually scared. But if you didn't know me, then I could see why you would think I was scared, because that just maybe would look like someone that's scared because I didn't say a lot. But I also didn't want to be disrespectful to an ex-world heavyweight champion, because look what he's achieved and look what I've achieved. So,
All I'm hearing is excuses.
It might, isn't it? It can be excuses, it can be whatever you want, but it is the truth. And me and Parker spoke the next day, and we were having a laugh and everything. So it's not like that at all. But obviously, people don't know that. And I've got the utmost respect for him. And like I said, I don't even think if I punched him in the face, of course that would do absolutely zero damage. I don't even think it would hit me back. Like, he's just too much of a nice guy. It's like the two nicest people in the world to fight each other. So no, I wasn't scared. But another reason why it might look like I was scared, at first I didn't know if he was actually joking. So I was trying to work out in my head if he was joking, and that may have looked like I was scared. But I probably should have just said I was scared. I could have got less shit for it, but we're here now, and I wasn't. So
you should have just held your hands up and been like, look, it's Joseph Parker, and I was. The two nicest men in boxing, as you said, or two of the nicest men in boxing. And what a fight they put on, by the way. Credit to both. Credit to Joseph Parker as well. We'll talk about him in a sec, but Joe Joyce, I mean, the rate of progression for someone who is in their late 30s, is that unheard of? I don't know.
No, not really. I mean, it's not common, but as heavyweights, I guess they can go on longer. He started boxing late, so he's actually more fresh. Despite him getting caught with shots, he's a lot more fresher than guys that don't get caught with shots. So, and like, if being around him, you would think he's a lot younger than what he actually is. Like, he's got very much like a 22, 23-year-old mindset. Like, and he's always been physically active. He's done a lot of sports over his life, so he's always been quite young at heart. So I expect him to go on for at least another 3 or 4 years, to be honest with you. So yeah, I guess it is maybe not as common, but it definitely happened. I mean, George Foreman, he aged like fine wine, didn't he? So it does happen, and he gets. They say their styles are quite similar, actually. So, but yeah, I mean, many great nights ahead for Juggernaut. He's getting better with age, getting better experience. You know what the thing is as well? It's not just getting better with age. That's just what I just caught at the end there. It was getting better with experience. He's getting more and more experience every camp, and more time with Salas and stuff. So I think that's all part of it. And then look to go on and make even bigger fights for him.
In terms of the fight itself, obviously a win against Joseph Parker was going to be a good win, however it came. Even if it was a 119, 109 shutout that was a little bit boring in places, it was a good win. But the fact it was such a great fight, like I just spoke to John Hedges and he said there was people that he knew that didn't know who Joe Joyce was, which to us seems amazing, that you couldn't know Joe Joyce. But after that fight, the fact it was a good fight as well, does that just throw his name even more into the mainstream? He's got the win, it was entertaining, kind of the perfect situation coming out of that for Joe, the fact it was a win and it was an unbelievable fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all shows breakout fight. I mean, the media attention he's getting now, he's on some massive TV shows over the next couple of weeks, which suggests that that's the case. Where there's so much uncertainty in heavyweight division at the moment on who's going to fight who, it's just like a breath of fresh air. A guy coming in, knocks people out, gets caught with shots, will fight anyone. I think this is kind of what everyone needs right now in heavyweight division, rather than all this politics, or I'm going to fight him, he doesn't want to fight. There's a guy that's coming in who will literally fight anyone, doesn't need to slag anyone off. And we'll go on there and always put on a great show for the fans. And I think Joe's getting respected a lot for that now. And people just like it. He doesn't need to go on and do weird Instagram videos calling people out or saying this guy's messing around, he doesn't want to fight. Joe's just there. Politics don't exist with him. And he's there to go and fight the best and beat the best.
Yeah. I said exactly the same again to John Hedges. Are we looking at someone who has kind of got that people's champion mould? There, as you said, there's no bullshit with Joe. All right, he calls people out and, you know, fighters have got to do that and smack is talked in the build-up to a fight. Again, fighters have got to do that, but there's kind of just no bullshit, is there?
Yeah, he's not calling people out for publicity. I don't think he could think of anything worse to do. He just wants to fight the best. I mean,
does he like the limelight? Because even around big fight week, sometimes I look at Joe and think, not is he comfortable, but like, could he do this without the cameras? Just do the fight and go home.
I think he enjoys getting the praise that he deserves, obviously, as anyone would. But do you know what? Joe is such a normal person. I think rather than hanging out with loads of celebrities, he'd just rather be out with his mates or chilling with family and being with normal people. Like, he's always been that way. When we was at Fury White, he had the most outrageous A-star celebrities coming up to him, like asking for photos and stuff, and he didn't even know who they were. And he looked like he wanted to be anywhere but next to them. Like, he's just not that kind of guy. He's just a really humble, down-to-earth guy who wants to earn loads of money, wants to be a world heavyweight champion, and will achieve both of those things. And then probably go back to being an artist. I think that's what he wants to do. He's painting after his career's done, playing more and more games and whatnot. So I think that's just all he wants to do. And he isn't interested in all that other rubbish. It's just not. Some people either they have that or they don't, and he just doesn't really want to do all that stuff. He just wants to go in there, do what he does best, knock people out, and go home.
Such a great man, Joe Joyce. Quick one on Joseph Parker. Yeah, he's such a tough geezer. He stood there and traded with Dillian. I think we was a bit more shocked that he'd done so or tried to do so with Joe. But yeah, just a seriously tough man, Joseph Parker. And, well, I hope it's not the end because there are some seriously good fights out there as well.
Oh, no, absolutely can't be the end. I think the best way forward for him, have 2 confidence booster fights, like fight I don't know if I can use an example, like a Lucas Brown and like someone else, because like mentally that'd be a tough fight for him to come back from. And then you can put him in there like Dubois. There are loads of big fights and big financial opportunities. Like, look at the kind of fighters he's beaten. He's beaten Andy Ruiz. He's beaten Huey Fury. He's beaten loads of Derek Chisora twice. Like, look how many times Derek Chisora's lost and come back and been knocked out. So there's loads of opportunities out there for Joseph Parker still, absolutely. And boxer, he's got a good promotional company behind him. I'm sure they'll back him and get him the right fights. But there's massive fights out there for him always. Like, you can't just get knocked out once by an elite level heavyweight and it'll be over, especially with the wins that he's got. I wouldn't mind seeing him against Wilder. That'd be a great fight.
Yeah, there's definitely something out there for Joe. And in terms of Joe Joyce, I know there's kind of the heavyweight merry-go-round at the moment. We'll talk about where it kind of could lie, I suppose, and perhaps how the next few months or even the next year could play out for Joe and this world title shot. But with Joshua and Fury, there was kind of a 3-day window maybe where we thought, shit, we might actually be getting this fight. It's not going to happen now. What was your kind of thought process throughout? Because I know in boxing, people can be very pessimistic because we've kind of seen it all before.
Yeah, listen, Joyce wants to fight AJ, December 17th. Eddie and Matchroom need to get on to us about making that fight. Like, we've made that clear, we want that fight. If they want to fight a top guy, Joe Joyce is ready. He'll be back from holiday, when does he come back? This weekend? Oh no, yeah, he'll be back because he's meant to be going to the boxing this weekend. So I think he comes back either Friday or Saturday. And we can go straight back into camp and we can go in there and we can knock Anthony Joshua out. So that would be...
You had this mindset even during the Fury-Joshua talks?
Yeah, man. That fight was never going to happen, man. I called that 4 or 5 months ago. Fury was always going to fight Manuel Shah, but I don't think that fight's going to happen now because of the public stick it's got. But yeah, that fight was never going to happen. I knew. And like, Joe Joyce is such an easy fight to make for anyone because number one, I think Queensberry and Matchroom have shown that they would work together now. Number two, Joe Joyce would fight anyone. Number three, everyone wants to see Joe Joyce fight anyone now because of obviously the statement wins that he's got now. So it's such an easy fight to make. Is it the right fight for Anthony Joshua right now? Absolutely not, because his confidence is going to be low. It looks like he's got issues within his training team or whatever's going on there. And he should probably have 2 soft fights, get his confidence up, work on some new things, and then have a fight like that. But we'll see what happens. But I very, very highly doubt Joyce and AJ will happen. But I think the scenario that would play out here is that Fury Usyk will go for undisputed early next year. And if that happens, the mandatory position will get pushed back slightly. And I think the belt to become vacant and Joe will be elevated to full world champion, which is not ideal. We would rather win it in the ring, but then we can just have a massive defence, which would be equivalent to fighting a real champion. I mean, knocking out Joseph Parker and knocking out Daniel Dubois, I think definitely makes it a lot more suitable if he got elevated to full champion, rather than what some other people have done in the past.
Yeah, he's not elevated off the back of beating someone who's past their best or a journeyman. Or
It wasn't like he'd just beaten Hammer like that fight and then he's been elevated, because then there would be, I could understand a bit of stick, because that's what it's going to happen anyway, isn't it? But yeah, I don't think a lot of people could give him stick, and that's a way of us getting the bigger fights. People are going to have to fight Joe Joyce if he's world heavyweight champion, so and that'd be a massive fight. Imagine Joshua in Nigeria for the world heavyweight championship. It'd be massive. That's like going back when Muhammad Ali used to go and fight in multiple different countries all over the world. That'd be massive.
Yeah. And obviously the way you said it would play out, potentially Fury and Usyk early next year. Do you still kind of believe that Fury will fight in December? Because if it isn't Manuel Shah, I know the contract's been sent to Derek Chisora, but say that wasn't to happen, I don't know, could we kind of see Fury not fight until the Usyk fight? Or?
So, you know what? It's so difficult to predict that whole landscape, because one minute you think something's going to happen, then it's not, and then it's all like twist all over the place. But I do expect Fury Usyk to happen. I do think it will happen. I feel like there's not a lot else for either of them to do. And it looks like they both only want a couple more fights. So, and like I think Usyk's easy enough to make deals with. I think Fury can be easy enough to make deals with. and I've heard that there's a massive Saudi offer coming in for them. So I think it would just be very hard for either of them to stand down, really.
Yeah, we'll wait to see kind of how it all plays out and whether Fury does fight and whatnot. Quick one, I want to ask you about Larone Richards, by the way. What's the situation with Larone? Because I know there was talk of him potentially fighting on the Canelo card at one point. Just kind of where do we stand with Larone now? Because it feels like kind of haven't heard too much for a while. Yeah,
I mean, it's a difficult situation. We're just looking to find him a home now. That's it, really. We don't want to be going from promoter to promoter. We've got some offers on the table, and we're just taking our time, basically, working out which one's going to be the best for him. We've waited so long now, it'd be silly to just jump into anything. So that's what we're doing. We're reviewing things, we're talking. It's all positive, it's all progressing. And then we need to make a decision on which one suits Larone Richards the best. I mean, he's just turned 30, but he's a young 30. He doesn't get caught with loads of shots, does he? You know, he lives the life of a complete athlete. And the next stage of his career is going to be massive. We want one 10-rounder against someone like Rocky Fielding. And then go straight into a world title fight against anyone, literally anyone that wants it, he'll fight. And he's got the style to beat anyone and to spoil anyone and make it frustrating for anyone. And do you know what? He doesn't get enough credit for that Gongora win, man. Carlos Gongora would knock out virtually any super middleweight, I think, other than Canelo Alvarez. And he gets no credit for beating him. Like, look what Gongora did to Ali Akhmedov, who was the next big thing in that division. And he looked good since then as well. Doesn't get any credit for it, man. Like, no one would have fought Gongora. John Ryder wouldn't have fought Gongora. Zach Parker wouldn't have fought Gongora. Larone went and did it. Gets no credit for it. Stood toe-to-toe with him at times. Gets no credit for that whatsoever either. So you just can't win with him sometimes. But all I'm saying is it'll be a big 2023 for Larone. This year hasn't gone the way that we wanted to or expected it to. But unfortunately, these things happen sometimes. But it's happened now. We need to get over it. Hopefully, can get him a fight before the year's out. Like I said, like a nice Rocky Fielding fight or something like that. And then have a big fight next year, and then work on him from there.
Yeah. Just a quick one on Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. I must stress, as we sit here now, there are things going on in the background. It is Wednesday afternoon, but yeah, just kind of on that fight. How excited are you to see these two hopefully step in the ring after what's been a very long build-up? It feels like an entertaining build-up in places.
Yeah, it's a weird fight. It's a bit of a freak fight, in my opinion. But it's a massive fight. It's a difficult one to comment on because it's really difficult to predict any outcome for that fight because, like, we haven't seen Eubank at that weight. The rehydration is going to take a lot out of him. Is the same punch resistance he had going to be there? Probably not. Is his legs going to be there? Probably not because he's going to be really tired. How is Conor Benn dealing with coming up all that way? Conor Benn's never fought anyone near the level of Eubank. It's just so many questions. And that's probably why it's such an intriguing fight because I don't think anyone really knows what the outcome can be for that fight. Anything could really happen. It wouldn't shock me. So I'm excited to watch it. If we do, hopefully get to watch it. Obviously, they've got all that stuff ongoing at the moment. I don't know enough about it to comment on it, but hopefully everything is safe. Hopefully everything is correct, and hopefully we see a good fight on Saturday night. If all of that is everything behind the scenes is just a mistake or whatnot, and everything as well. So.
Yeah. In terms of the Eubank and this 60% claim, I kind of gather you're with the rest of us in not believing a single word of that. Camera talk with the old chicken at the KFC fight, the steak, the birthday cake.
I mean, yeah, that's Chris Eubank is great at mind games. He's great at frustrating people. I think he'll be 60%? I think he might be even less than that because no one is going to be great or 100% when at the age of 33 they've got to make a weight they haven't made since they were 16. Not just that, the rehydration, which is massive for a fighter that's drained at the weight. I mean, he probably is going to be less than 60%. Let's be honest here. But is less than 60 enough to beat Conor Benn? It's another reason why it's a good fight. I mean, if it was evenly matched, it probably wouldn't be a fun fight to watch. I can't imagine Conor Benn having much success against Eubank. But all this weight stuff is what's making it a fun fight. So be interesting to see how it all plays out. And hopefully we get to see a big, good, safe fight on Saturday night.
Brilliant, Shane. Top man.
Top man. Thanks, mate.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.